Hi and welcome. So today I want to share with you why you're not sabotaging yourself when you emotionally eat. So if you're new here, welcome. My name is Michelle. I'm a certified holistic nutritionist specializing in emotional eating. And I wanted to share with you why you're not sabotaging yourself when you emotionally eat. I know it can feel like you are sabotaging yourself. And when I talk to women, that's what they think they're doing. They're sabotaging themselves. Why can't they just not emotionally eat? Why do they keep sort of sabotaging themselves? And those are the words they use. And it almost feels like that. Why can't I just do this thing? And so when you emotionally eat, it's not that you're trying to sabotage yourself, and it's not that you're actually trying to make yourself fail. What you're doing is using food to cope. So emotional eating is a coping mechanism. It's when we use food to soothe ourselves from any discomfort or distress or uncomfortable emotions. It's a way we use to almost protect ourselves, to just manage stress. And while it's not a healthy way of doing it, it is what we've learned and what we've developed over time. And so this pattern, I see this with clients, and I was the same way when I was emotionally eating. I did feel like I was sabotaging myself. I did feel like, why can't I just make this work? Because I didn't understand what was really going on. I didn't understand how powerful this coping mechanism was. And I thought I just needed more willpower, and I just needed to push through. And for some reason, I just wasn't designed the same way as everyone else. And I thought something was wrong with me. But now, knowing what I know about emotional eating, this is so far from what's going on. Because emotional eating is a coping mechanism, and what I discover with clients when we work on this issue at the deeper levels is that this was formed in childhood. Not that we're sitting around with all of these chips and cookies emotionally eating. It's that this pattern formed from childhood because we didn't have certain needs met. We weren't regulated by our parents or caregivers. We weren't given what we developmentally needed to have a healthier way of being in life. And so we had to develop ways of just managing the stressors and coping. Coping is not about resolution or thriving. We were just really trying to survive, and this is the best way we could. And so we really have to think about this pattern as being there over time, repeated again and again. And when patterns repeat and we keep doing the same thing over again to create a solution or create, a way of managing something, it becomes very automatic, and our brain loves efficiency. So it becomes subconscious. So it just becomes a program we run. Whenever we're triggered, we go to food to soothe ourselves, and it can feel like we're sabotaging ourselves. Something is taking us over. But what's happening is that if we think about our mind as 100%, our conscious mind is about 5%, and our subconscious mind is about 95%. And so this part of us that's triggered into emotional eating is subconscious, and it's powerful because it's holding 95% power. That subconscious part of us also runs, our heart beating, our lungs breathing. If you learn to drive a car, it's the part of you that just gets in the car and you end up from point A to point B without even remembering it. But if you remember, at first, it was something you had to think about and you had to consciously choose to do. And so now we're trying to use our 5% to shift this 95%, which isn't efficient at all. And it leaves us feeling like a failure and something's wrong with us. And why can't we just do it? And so we need to dive deeper in order to resolve this. And so what I've found through my own journey and working with clients is that we need to be smart about this pattern, and we need to look at it in a multi-layered way, because it's not just that we have to go in and shift the emotional eating pattern. We have to learn how to meet our needs and create those structures around it so that when we do reprogram and we shift this pattern at a deeper level, we're creating true change. What a lot of programs do is they say, oh, you didn't have your needs met, do this and this. And it's on a conscious level. It's not getting into the subconscious. We need to have awareness of what's really going on. And so what I've found with working with this is that there are 3 key areas that are impacted by our emotional eating and that can trigger it. And so that's around our relationship to food, to our body, and to our emotions. This pattern, because it was formed around food, and we live in a society that doesn't relate to food in a healthy way or our bodies, we're trying to use diets and maybe restriction and exercise and having a certain body to achieve the needs that we thought we couldn't have or we didn't receive. And these needs are needs that we need. There's no other way to put it. It's something that a human needs in order to healthily develop. And if we don't have them, we try to manipulate or do things to try to get those needs met. And so what happens is we are emotionally eating. We feel out of control with food in our body. So we use diets and exercise to manage that. We probably were shamed around our emotions and expressing them. So we try to manage that or numb that, bypass that. Then we go to food and it becomes really convoluted. And so the way out of this and the way to stop, being so restrictive around food, punishing with our body, and sort of maybe bypassing our emotions or not even giving them any thought, is to really shift this, because the way we've been dealing with this pattern is putting us into a state that will trigger the pattern even more. When we're in fight or flight, when we're in a stress state, it triggers the pattern. That's how we're triggered into our emotional eating. So with food, we need to shift to a way where we're nourishing our body and connecting to our actual body's nourishment needs. And from this, we can start seeing where we're actually triggered into our emotional eating. We need to start shifting our body to meeting our body's needs, actual needs, rhythms, and rituals it needed in order to start shifting this pattern, so that we're no longer triggering emotional eating. And we need to actually process and resolve and integrate the emotions running the pattern, so that we're no longer just covering them up and then they are out of control and they trigger more emotional eating because of the shame we feel for being out of control. And so as we shift this pattern in these 3 areas, so that's how we start shifting our emotional eating from the root. And as we do this, what happens is we naturally start feeling at ease in our body and around food, because we're no longer in a stressful state, which makes our body feel contracted and tight and turns on dis-ease and turns on stress and cortisol and weight gain. And we're shifting to a way of being at ease, which is rest and digest. So our body starts feeling peace and ease, and health is turned on, and we release excess weight, and we are feeling energetic. And this is how we shift the pattern. We're no longer going to be triggered into emotional eating because we're resolving the root issues and the root patterns and beliefs that go along with this. We're actually getting into that subconscious. So the way we do that is that we are now relating to food, our body, and our emotions on a conscious way, learning to relate to them in a healthier way. And then when we do the deeper work, we can now shift the pattern as we resolve on a deeper level the traumas that are there. We can now resolve them and move forward in a powerful way, because we've now created a new way of being. And so this is how we can resolve our emotional eating. And this is why you're not sabotaging yourself, because these patterns were created to help us cope and to survive. And now we're going to shift to thriving. So all of this we do inside of the Emotional Eating Evolution program, with a step-by-step process with lots of support, accountability, guidance, in-depth somatic meditations to shift this pattern, resolve it at the root, so you can finally feel at ease and peace and that confidence in your body and around food. So if this is resonating for you, you can find out more about the program below. It's a 12-week container to support you through this process. And if you have any questions, please let me know as well. If you feel like you're ready to resolve your emotional eating, the next step would be to book in an emotional eating clarity call. On the call, we find out more about you, what your goals are, and what steps you need to get there, and create a plan to help you move past your emotional eating. And so if that's resonating for you, you can book in that call below as well. I just want to say thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe, and I look forward to sharing more with you, and I hope you have a great day.